Hello, Wayne Grenning with Otto Langen, seal number 2411, built in 1876. This engine is, as those of you who've been following along with the restoration process, is the only known surviving gasoline-fueled engine of its type. There were a few made by the factory, but the development of this style engine happened in the chronology of the company and the development of the four-cycle engine at such a point in time that it became obsolete instantaneously. So once the company decided to market these, the four-cycle had been perfected and all efforts on these were abandoned. So there are some documentation that exists that show that a small handful were made. This is living proof that they actually did sell a few. It's been a restoration. It's been ongoing for 24 months, 25 months. Reproduction of a few parts with the flywheel, the fuel system. Been a very comprehensive effort. Learned a lot from doing this. John and I are really excited throughout the whole project from the beginning, even before we got it. And once it was in our hands, it was like, okay, here we go. So I'll just walk you through the system real quick. You have the basic engine, which is very similar to a standard illuminating gas Otto Langen, except the slide valve is unique in the fact that this does not have the carrier flame porting built into it, and it only has one aperture for an inlet, and the inlet is air combined with gas mixture. The vaporizing system here is fairly straightforward. Exhaust gas goes through here, through a valve where you can turn it on or turn it off. And just a very simple loop in the base. The exhaust heat transfers upward into this section of the tank. That's where your liquid reservoir is. That's your drain. That's an overflow. Air from the engine comes in from this spark arrestor through the valve, goes down into a bubbler in here, and as the engine runs, it pulls air off of the space above the liquid through this pipe and into a detonation arrestor and in the engine. And when it pulls air from here, makes a negative pressure, and the inlet air goes through, actually bubbles up through the gasoline, and picks up the volatiles in the fuel. That's the external indicator for the fuel gauge with the mechanical parts down in the base. Holds 12 quarts. You can see a little magic mark on there, and the indicator's down about a 1/4 inch. And that's after 7 hours of operation, so it's fairly efficient. At an idle. We're running it at about 65 RPM. That is the fuel tank. It's a pressurized fuel tank for the ignition fuel. You see the level in it. And the burner assembly underneath. A note about the fuel and air is the air and fuel come out of this and go over to the slide valve. You have a valve and another spark arrestor. The fuel coming out of the vaporizer is very rich. It's too rich to run. So we have to cut it with, I call it side bleed air. Excuse me. And that allows air to blend with that mixture to lean the mixture out so it'll operate. Put the camera down and I'll start light the fuel, ignition, and start the engine. So that is set. Make sure the fuel valve is off. Air inlet valve is open. And the valve between the vaporizer and the engine is open. Select this to our best guess of a start position. and we'll see what happens. Success. Move this to the run position. Down there you can see the ignition flame and the relay flame. And on one hit, it's up on the governor. Gasoline has quite a bit of power, and the stroke is, I think it's 56 inches, and the intake stroke's just a little more than 3. So for a 3-inch gulp, could potentially travel another 50 plus inches. Well, you got it. It's been a wonderful, rewarding project. The whole thing kind of exceeded any expectation Jonathan or myself ever had. It's been a huge project from every respect. Learned a lot about fuel vaporization and the extensive work we had to do on the clutch and mechanical repairs to the structure of the engine. But it's been wonderful, and the intent is to do a little more testing and running with the engine and have it at Cool Springs for the October show of this year.